Hello, everyone, and welcome to 1:01 p.m. on the MYBC Consulting Facebook page. The who hat that is going to be explaining who she is, we got chitty chatting and I lost track of time. So thank you for tuning in 1 minute after 1 o'clock for another edition or episode. I think it's an episode of Where in the World Is ... a W5 Story session, where I bring my connections that I've met recently, have known for years, or someone who I think I want to know more. And I learned that more by asking them, the W5 questions: who, what, where, when, why, never how, because that's up to them to share that with me. So without further ado, who are you?
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Margo Wipf.
Okay, so Margo, what are 5 who hats you wear in life?
Good question. Some of my hats that I wear, I'm a mom to 3 amazing boys, and I've got 5 great stepkids. I'm an outdoor recreator, enjoy hiking and kayaking and biking. I'm a health and safety consultant and business owner. And I'm a wife and a dog mom.
I want to unpack 2 of those. So
Okay.
when you say you're a nature lover, where do you love to spend time outdoors?
Well, we actually have a trailer on the outskirts of Kamloops.
Oh, nice.
When the highways do open up safely for families like myself, and that really enjoy spending time up there, really close to a lake and the outdoors. So we've got the forest right there for trails, snowshoeing and hiking, so all year round.
A little kind of side note there. How was it this past summer for you up in the interior BC?
It was really smoky. Had to cut a couple of trips short because of the smoke. However, everyone in that area, in that vicinity, did okay. Their homes did all right. And yes, so thank you for asking. That was it was a tough summer that way for the fires and that, but they did well there.
Oh, excellent. So health and safety. What is a health and safety person?
Well, that's health and safety person has to do with occupational or workplace health and safety. So safety of the worker.
Okay, so what are some of the things you do in that role?
Well, I work with companies throughout BC and Canada that have employees between 1 and 250, say, that have questions on workplace safety, what their obligations are with provincial legislation, such as WorkSafe BC, or want help boosting their safety culture and mitigating the risk in their workplace. So I collaborate with the employers. I create safety programs and policies and procedures that fit their company needs and meet regulatory compliance. That includes things like accident investigations and site inspections.
So just go a little deeper into that, because I find this fascinating. What would you say is the area most businesses forget to write a policy about?
Well, some it's a learning experience in regards to having a safety program. So safety programs covering everything from their policies on workplace violence, harassment, on-site inspection. So basically hazard recognition and the ways that we assess those and address those.
Okay. And I'm sure mental health plays into a portion of that as well.
Very much so, especially during this time right now.
Right. So where do you live on this big blue marble in the general vicinity? We know you like to recreate up in the Kamloops interior part of BC when it's safe to do so. And where do you help your clients? So you mentioned BC, Canada. So where are some of your clients across this great nation called Canada?
For sure. So I'm currently here in Maple Ridge on the north side, close to Golden Ears, and I work with companies throughout BC. So mostly Surrey, Langley, Abbotsford, and across Canada as far away as Toronto.
Oh, and is there a type of business you like to work with?
Oh, for sure. Well, with my background being in various sectors, some are healthcare or corporate. We look at things like, I would say, residential recycling. So municipal recycling. So manufacturing, warehouse, healthcare, a wide variety.
Okay. So when did you decide this? Because this is fascinating.
Well, I was introduced to workplace safety about 10 years ago while I worked in the forestry sector. I had a great supervisor and mentor, and he was a falling supervisor there. And he asked me if I wanted to take on being the internal safety auditor. And I
Mhm.
really enjoyed working with him. He walked the talk. He was respectful and always took the time to educate myself and others on forestry, on falling, and on safety. So I combined my own inner drive to protect others that I've had since being a young girl with the experiences I learned from working in that sector to drive my passion and safety.
That must have been interesting because my background, I was almost 13 years in the building industry, being a woman, on construction sites, um, both residential and commercial construction sites. You being a woman in the forestry industry must have been a phenomenal experience.
Yes, actually, there were some very strong women that were in the forestry sector while I was working there, and it's one that yes was just coming through and having more and more women be a part of that sector and that industry, and I thought that was great.
The question that kind of comes to right off the top of my mind is, what's the difference between a safety officer and someone who audits safety?
Great question. So internal auditing is where you go through and you review all the documentation and all the processes.
Okay.
And you actually, it is a very thorough document and resource tool that you use and apply the questions and provide the supporting documents to show all of the processes that you do in that industry that support the safe work that you do. And that's meeting compliance. And being a safety officer, safety advisor, and such is where, depending on the needs of the customer or the company, it could mean that you don't necessarily do safety audits for them. However, you are working on things like a safety program for them, more to what their company needs are, and helping them build that safe work procedures, working with the employees on supporting them and their role on the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, working with the employees on getting that understanding for those safe work procedures that they need to follow and work safely, and working, how would you say, bridging the gap of communication
Okay.
between the employer and the employee as well too, because really it takes teamwork.
Oh, amen to that. So, Marco, what's your why in life?
My why, well, my vision and my goal in regards to safety, my passion is to prevent the workplace injuries, illnesses, and diseases. I want to have all workers go home safely at the end of their day. Um, what drives me in life is my enjoyment for the outdoors, family
Mm.
and friends. So, and just connecting with people.
And what's the name of your company? We'll wrap it up there.
It's called the Safe Way. It's Workplace Safety and Human Resources Corporation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Margo, for being my guest today on the Where in the World Is W5 Story session. Fascinating. We'll make sure that Margo afterwards in the comments puts a link to either a website or how to get in touch with her to talk about this. It is something that is almost like reading is fundamental. Health and safety is fundamental on any good business. And I love the fact that you said from 1 to 250, because I'm a solopreneur and I'm sure I don't practice on a daily basis some safety rules in my own world, that because being me, myself, and I have to make sure that I'm kept safe so I can show up for my clients. So I love the fact that you work one-on-one with people as well, and it's not just a big business that you work with. So thank you so much. So tune in next Monday again at 1 o'clock for another edition of Where in the World Is, a W5 Story session, where I bring one of my connections and you learn a little bit more about them when I ask them the questions that begin with who, what, where, when, and why. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Jeanette. Pleasure to be on here with you.